Housing is slowing a little bit, but that's okay. We're basically returning to a more normal housing market, and housing is better when it's boring. We're entering boring, and that's pretty good, actually.
Do you feel like buyers are a little bit concerned, even though mortgage rates are still at historic lows, employment seems to be getting better, you would think all of these factors are actually pretty good for buying a house?
What's happened is people have reset their expectations about what is reasonable long-term housing appreciation. They realize now that you should really only buy a house if you're going to be in it for 3 or more years. So no longer assume that housing is just a fantastic investment. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Now you have people buying based on whether they're really going to love the home and live there for a long time rather than purely speculating.
Do you think that is somewhat of a result of shell shock from the housing bubble and the burst of the housing bubble?
It's absolutely the result of shell shock from the housing bubble. So what happened during the upswing was about 7 million people bought homes that shouldn't, and then 7 million people on the way down were foreclosed upon. And now here we are kind of at this new steady state, and those people have become renters. And unfortunately, there wasn't new rental supply created because it takes many years for new buildings to be built. As a result, rents have appreciated rapidly because there's all this new rental demand and not enough rental supply. And comparatively speaking, buying looks more attractive, especially because there are very low mortgage rates. But the best piece of advice for a home buyer when thinking about whether to buy or rent is to evaluate how long they're going to live in the home. If you're going to be in a home for more than 2 years nationally, you're better off buying than renting. But there are wide regional differences. So in Manhattan, for example, you have to be in a home for more than 5 years for it to make sense to buy rather than rent. In Detroit, it's only about 6 months.
Is there anything to you that indicates either we're going to see more home buying or less home buying going forward? Like, what are you paying attention to?
We pay attention to housing starts and multifamily construction starts, because that's where new inventory comes from. Those have been pretty low. It takes literally years for shovels to be in the ground building new buildings or building new homes. And finally, we're starting to see that come online. Surprisingly, we don't actually forecast much impact from the Fed raising rates on home purchase activity. As a leading indicator of demand, we look at pre-approvals, mortgage originations, and just activity on the website. So how many people are actually just looking for real estate information?
And what do you see?
That looks very, very healthy. So
what's very healthy?
Well, our traffic is up about 20% year over year, and we have 125 million unique users a month. So a lot of people are very interested in real estate. But the biggest challenge now to housing is supply. So there's just not that much inventory. People don't list their home because they say to themselves, well, there's not enough to buy, and then there's no supply, and then there's no listings occur. And so it's this kind of negative cycle that only repairs itself when new supply gets built or when home values increase, pulling people out of negative equity.